Letting the sits bones root down to the earth. Let your ribs maybe lift from the waistline. Oops. Drawing your shoulders up, back, and down. Even the sides of the neck draw back a little bit, so the neck's in alignment over the spine. With a deep breath in and a long breath out. Deep breath in, long breath out. Letting go of whatever it took to get to your mat, to your space in front of your computer this afternoon. Letting go whatever may await after class, just to be here for this time that you've already carved out for your practice. Staying present with the breath and being very aware of the movements in your body. Especially now that we're not in the same room together, it's a little bit harder for me to see where your alignment is, where things may be needing adjustments. So really honoring what your body is telling you and not placing it in any harm's way. A deep breath in, long breath out. Slowly, still being here in your meditative breath, but see if you can sort of shift your mind into a place that brings instant joy to your heart. Hopefully you didn't need to search far for that within your mind, within your heart. It's something that is just really near and dear. And be a visitor in this space. If you think about just kind of allowing whatever it is, wherever it is, to happen, and you're just sort of this bystander there. Thinking about what you may see with your eyes. Thinking about what you may feel through touch and through your skin. Thinking of the sounds you may hear. The smells. Maybe even taste. Allowing your senses to place you deeper into this space. Deep breath in, long breath out. Again, just noticing what's happening there around you. Letting that fill your heart with joy, bringing a Hopefully a little smile to your face, as that's a space that is only for you, only for you. It is yours, your happy place. And seeing how quick we were able to get there, knowing that you can come to that space anytime, anywhere. And we slowly start to come back into our body, into the current breath, back to the present. Not so quick you get the bends at all, but just slowly allowing yourself to return and start to move the fingers, maybe moving the toes, bringing awareness back to this moment. And then let's start to take the arms overhead with a full breath as they sweep up. And then exhale as your hands come to the heart. So you can keep your eyes closed if you like, or softly closed. Again, just being aware of the breath. And then let's come into the twist. So letting your arms reach high and then twisting over to the right side, kind of letting your hands drop to the floor. Head, neck, and eyes can even turn and engage into the twist. And then going into the second side when you're ready. So moving with your breath and watching that you're staying upright with the spine, and your head, neck, and eyes can even turn into the pose. You're not dropping through the shoulders or dropping through the head. Moving from the waistline and using your breath. Good, finishing up this last twist, whatever side you're on is fine. Just go all the way through it, and then we'll all meet with the hands up overhead. And then gently bringing the right hand to the floor, left arm brings you up and over for a side body stretch. So if you can, think about the sits bone staying in place. The arms extend up and over. If you come light on that one side, bring that hip back down so you really extend through underneath that side body and out through the arm. Be aware of where your neck is. You're not dropping in or looking up too much. You're just kind of looking straight ahead. Going from one side into the other. Good, and then last one, go all the way through that one side, and then we'll come back to center. So we're gonna do a little arm work here. If you need to move your legs at any point, please do. Let's take those arms and extend forward, palms touch, and then elbows go back towards each other. So watch that your shoulders aren't high or low, and the elbows go as far back as they can. Inhale with the hands together, and then exhale, elbows go back. Inhale, stretch and reach. Exhale, elbows go back. So in this pose, also watch that you're not pulling your head far forward. Bring it in line on top of the neck. Not that forward head posture, right? We want to keep it as far back as you can. Take that pressure off the cervical spine. Inhale, stretch and reach. Exhale, elbows go back. Let's do one more. And then cross the arms over the chest. Pull those arms back out, opposite arm on top of the chest. So if you get to that point where the forearms stack, awesome. Maybe pull them even further to get to that point where the elbows stack, and then open back out. Opposite arms, as far back as you can. Again, keeping those shoulders low and elbows low. And then last one, whatever side you're on, go through that all the way and then shake that off. Good. So let's do a little bit of low back work already. So if you have a mat, you can kind of scooch over to the left side. So your left leg, kind of hard to see because I've got that mat, but my left leg is running along the left side of the mat, straight out from the hip. If you don't have a mat, just kind of align your left leg to be straight out from your hip and activate your left toes up towards you. That right foot is inside the left leg, high or low, just depends on what's going on and how open your hips are, what's going on with your right knee. A lot of things to think about. So we're gonna push the sits bones down into the earth. There's that action of really rooting down, and then lift the heart up. We're gonna go first kind of in between the legs. So keep that left foot active and let your heart go in between, so your torso is kind of turned a little bit to the right, and you're rooting the sits bones down. Ideally, you should be feeling that in the low back. If it's really tweaky, then don't go too far forward. You know, even that action is good enough. But it just depends on what feels right for you. Make sure you're breathing, that foot stays active, rooting those sits bones down. You can always play with it. You can come up and root down again and then let the heart go forward. One more breath. And then slowly start to come back up. So it's a little shift of turning your torso to go over the left leg. Same idea here though, you're gonna root your sits bones down and let your heart come towards those left toes. If you want, you can use your hands to the leg, maybe your hands come to the feet. If you have a prop with strap close by, you can use that and let your heart start to come forward. But again, root your sits bones down. Engage down there in that space, so that low back gets a chance to kind of lengthen and expand. Couple rounds of breath, and again, you can always come up and find that rooting down and let the heart come forward. That can help to kind of, if you need a little bit more lengthening, that can kind of help. And then slowly, let's come up. We're gonna go into a twist. So letting your ribs really lift up off the waistline. So you can turn that left waistline to the right as far as you can. Your right hand comes behind you and the left hand to the right leg somewhere. Keep that left foot really active, drawn up towards you. And again, root your sits bones down. So that action of the twist is coming from the waistline. You can turn your head, neck, and eyes into the pose. And then slowly your head comes back around, the torso comes back around. We're gonna go to the second side. So again, if you have a mat, you can kind of scoot over to the right. Using that right leg to be straight out from the hip, or you're just shifting. That left foot comes in, activate those right toes, you're pushing through that heel, and then let your heart go forward. So sorry, again, root through the sits bones, really root down, and then your heart kind of turns a little bit to the left. Doesn't need to be a big action, especially when you're thinking of the sits bones staying connected. The more you lean forward, those sits bones get light, they can come up. We want to keep them rooting down. So it might not be a big movement, big action. And it lengthens the low back, strengthens the low back. Let's take 2 more rounds of breath. Again, you can come up, realign, root down, lift the heart and go forward. Good, and then let's come back, turn, get really tall here again, and then turn to come over that right leg. Root your sits bones down, root down really strong, and let your heart turn in that direction. Again, you can use your hands, maybe a strap, but ideally your sits bones aren't coming up off the floor. Keep that part of the body drawn down. One more breath. Good. And then let's slowly come up. We're going to go to the twist on that second side. So again, ribs kind of lift up off the waistline so you can turn that right waistline to the left as much as you can. The left hand comes around the back, maybe your right hand comes to the leg, and it's just an action from the waistline. You're trying to turn right there. So your sits bones stay in place, you're kind of still rooting down, and hopefully you're getting a little twist and a little stretch on the low back. Shoulders stay out of the ears, that right foot stays engaged. Push through that right heel. Head, neck, and eyes can even turn and look if you'd like. Good, and then slowly, slowly, let's come back to center and transition into a tabletop, hands and knees. Take your time moving into that position of the shoulders, or excuse me, the hands right down from the shoulders, knees down from the hips, maybe tucking the toes here. That can help if you've got wobbly knees. And we're gonna come into the cat-cow, so a little bit more spine work here. Draw the belly in, even as you move through the cat and the cow. Round the spine, head and tail, draw in towards each other, and then let that belly drop towards the floor. Make sure you're breathing, you're kind of pushing down with the palms of the hand. Look at your wrists, make sure that they're parallel. Looking forward, so they're not turned at all. That adds more pressure to the wrists. Good, one more, curl it in. And then we'll take that neutral spine. Start to wag the tail a little bit, one side to the other. And then maybe your eyes look in that direction of your hips. So your one side's lengthening, the other's kind of crunching and reversing, and go to that second side. You can hang out there for a moment if you're really feeling that stretch. Good, and then let's take it into the circle. So here's where you just get to freeform it. The elbows can bend, your head moves around and around. And then go in the opposite direction. Bring everything back to neutral. Okay, we're gonna do a little balancing here. So if you can, tuck the toes. That helps protect the knee and gives you a little bit more stability in the balancing poses. We're gonna take that right arm out with the thumb up towards the ceiling. Left leg straight back from the hip, pointing the heel, so your toes point down towards the floor. Now engage your core, find a focal point. So when you come to the second side, notice how little your body moves. Left arm, right leg. Core is strong, find that focal point, really fixate on it, if you will, so you notice how much you're moving around as you shift from one side to the other. Alternating sides with your breath. Take a moment to really engage through the heel, draw out through the fingers, and then switch again. Root that hand to the floor, maybe tuck the toes on that back heel. Find that focal point so you're noticing how much you're moving from one side to the other. Switch again, and then this will be the last one. Back into tabletop. Good. So tuck your toe, or sorry, untuck your toes if they're tucked for a child's pose. Heels can lead all the way back. Maybe the arms come forward. Give a little stretch. Maybe that's a lot of pressure for the wrists. It can be, so maybe you want to move the wrists around a little. I'm just going to take a sip of water. Good. Coming back into tabletop. Maybe tuck in those toes. We're going to come to an extended version of thread the needle. So that we're going to root the left hand to the floor, let your right arm reach high, pull those arms apart, really extend through the arms. And then your right arm sweeps through. You're kind of pulling it to the left, a little twist to the left. Reach back up, go high, pull it through, twist to the left, reach high again, left hand roots down, right arm really reaches high. Good, one more pull through, one more reaching high. Good, and now we're gonna bring that right shoulder to the floor. So you're pulling to the left, let your right shoulder drop down, right side of the head drops down. Maybe you take that left hand around the back. You can bring your head up and pull it forward a little bit to give you more room between the shoulder and the ear. And then back into tabletop. So your left hand roots down, right hand comes back. Good, so now we're gonna root that right hand to the floor and the left arm extends up and reach. Pull those arms apart, bring that left hand through, pull it as far as you can to the right, reach back up. Pull those arms apart, good. Reach through, strong right arm, strong left arm as it pulls and twists. Reach high again. Pull through one more time. Reach high one more time. And now come down to that left shoulder. So you're pulling through to the right, down to that left shoulder, to the left temple. You can keep that right hand rooted to the floor. You can take it behind you, opening up that right shoulder blade a little bit. Couple rounds of breath. The right hand comes back to the floor, push you back into tabletop. Let's go into down dog. When you're ready, tuck your toes there again, let your hips go high, and if it's something, you can take your heels to the floor, or if they're lifted, push through the hands, taking the hips high. Couple rounds of breath here. You can always pedal the feet to warm up the calves, exaggerate through the arms. Trying to let your ears be to the inside of the upper arms. Deep breath in, long breath out. So we're going to come to stand, whatever's the best way for you to get there. Maybe you come back to your knees, or you walk, or you hop. Be careful of your low back, so engaging your core, slowly come up. Good, good. I think I need to shift this a little. Okay, strong standing pose, Tadasana. So we're gonna go in and out of some poses, always coming back to that strong standing pose. So your feet are about hip width distance. You've got that tailbone lengthening action, so your bum's not pushing and your heart's not forward. You're really trying to align everything. Even your neck is in alignment. Shoulders can lift up, back and down. Good. Let's take arms out from the shoulder. Let's do a little bit of arm work here. Now, the arms are out, but then kind of drop those shoulder blades down towards each other and down the back a little bit. Move through some slow, small circles. Do, 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 do. Slow and small, right out from the shoulders. That feels okay. You've got the shoulder blades working towards each other, so that helps to keep these circles slow and small. Good, and then pause for a moment. Let's take those arms high, not straight up from the ears, but give it a little bit of width there. So now again, drop those shoulders towards each other and down the back. Bring the elbows down towards the, just in a little bit, not to the waistline yet, but again, drop those shoulders and down the back. Okay, now we're gonna bring those elbows kind of to the waistline and the palms are facing each other, body width. And then let the arms slowly start to come shoulder height and then back down. So the slower you go, the more your shoulder blades have to engage. Drop your tailbone down so you're not pushing your pelvis forward. Inhale and exhale. And be aware of where your neck is. The rest of the body is in alignment. Just let your arms move nice and slow, like you're kind of pulling them through some mud. You have to engage then to draw high and engage to go low. Good, let's take those arms up again. Again, not straight up, but a little bit of distance between them. And bring those shoulder blades, drop them from the ears and down the back. We're gonna bring those arms down a little bit, like a W. Good, drop those shoulder blades towards each other and down the back again. Now bringing those elbows to the waistline with the palms facing out. Nice and slow, elbows go up, shoulder height, and then back in. Again, it's this controlled action. You're using the muscles to help you draw them up to the shoulder height and use the muscles to help you go low again. Good, let's do two more. There's one. Last one, go up and come in. Nice. Let that go. Shake it off a little bit. So we're going to do some action where the shoulders draw in and open out. So it's the palms kind of drop in towards each other and then rotate them open. The thumbs go out. So when you bring those thumbs in, the shoulder blades come forward, open it out, shoulder blades go towards each other on the back. Again, tailbone lengthens. Your neck's in alignment, it's just the arms and breath rotating and moving. Good, and then we're gonna come back to center, shake that off again. Let your hands come in front of you with the palms together. Maybe I'll turn to the side, you can see this a little better. Good, and then we're gonna take the arms out as far as you can. Drop your thumbs to the floor. Now only go as far as this feels okay for you. We're gonna slowly start to bring the hands towards each other with the palms out, back of the hands maybe touch in front of you. And then open back out, push those hands away with the thumbs still pointing down. Now we're gonna rotate the thumbs up towards the ceiling and bring the hands together again in front. Good, we're gonna do that again. Let the arms go out as far back as you can. Drop the thumbs towards the floor. Start to bring those arms forward, maybe touching the back of the palms towards each other. Listen to your body. Open it back out as far back as you can. Let the thumbs draw up towards the ceiling. Let the arms come forward, palms together. Let it go. Shake that off. Good. So for this next one, it's, let's do this one. So the right arm comes forward, up, back, and touch. Hold it for just a moment, get a tricep stretch, and then slowly start to release that. Good, we'll go to the second side. Up, back, and touch. And gently release. Again, there's a lot of action. You're really kind of pulling that arm forward. Reach it high for the ceiling. So when you bend the elbow, you've got that rotation of the shoulder opening. And then up, forward, and down. Go back to the left. Up, back, and touch. And slowly come out of it. Let's go one more time to the right. And last one to the left. Good. Now, so we're going to join the fingers and kind of push down to the floor Push the arms forward, and again, kind of really extending so you're getting that stretch for the wrists and for the fingers back. And now take the arms high. So again, watch your tailbone, watch your neck. Good. Bring the arms forward, bring the palms together. Let the arms extend as far back as you can. Little chest opening there, but again, watch your tailbone. Good. Bring the arms forward. Push hands towards the floor. Push the hands out in front of you. Push the hands up towards the ceiling. Good. Let the arms come back in front of you with the palms together. Extend those arms out as far back as you can reach. Really take it as far back. Good. One more time. We're going to join the fingers, push towards the floor. Push out in front of you. Let the arms go high. Let those shoulders relax from the ears. Don't let them follow you. Bring the arms back together with the palms together. And then open out. Big chest opening. Good. Hands come back together. Let that go. All right, so now let's do some hips. We have a request for hips. So I think one of the, we'll do some leg balancing, but a really good one to get into the hips and to the inner thighs is this one that we do frequently, where we take our feet apart a little bit, and then when we come into a bit of a squat, it's this action of rooting your feet down to the floor, but also think of your knees tracking outward. So they're not bowing in towards each other. It's really important to use that inner thigh action and drop those knees apart from each other. If you want more arm work, drop those elbows in towards the waistline as you push those knees out apart from each other. Coming up is kind of that star. Drop those shoulders, drop the knees. Good. So the soles of the feet engage as you go low, and they also engage to help you kind of come back up. There's the exhale. Inhale up. Exhale when you come into that squat, and maybe the arm work. Inhale back up. So if you're coming, you guys keep going. I'm going to talk here for a minute. If you notice that your heels are coming up, then maybe don't go so low. Maybe you just get to that point where the legs are still, you're still working them, or maybe you have to take the feet apart a little bit more to get a deeper stretch without having to come to the heels. You want your soles of the feet to really root down, help you go low, help you come back up. Good. Last one there. Go ahead. Stay standing. So we're going to take, for this pose, it's okay that your heart comes forward a little bit because we're going to drop the hands to the knees. Coming into, we're going to try and keep the hips square and come into a side stretch. So you're going to kind of take your right shoulder towards the left knee. Give it a good stretch. Come back up, go to the second side. If you can, maybe the arm goes straight so you really can push that hand into that knee and get a big stretch on that second or that opposite side. Keep the hips even if you can. Watch that they don't swing too much from one side to the other. And then when you've done a couple, even it out to each side. Bring your heart back up. Okay, so now we're gonna go into the squat again. Keep your hands to your hips maybe. Now we're gonna bring the right heel up and drop it back to the floor. Left heel comes up, drop it back. Right heel up, drop it. Left heel up, drop it. So now we're gonna take both heels from the floor. See if you can go a little lower. That really works those inner thighs, working the knees. Drop that tailbone into the floor so you're not dropping your heart forward. Good. When you're ready, bring the heels to the floor, straighten the legs, shake it off. So if you have a mat, you can come to the top of your mat. If you're just in your space and you have a rug, you get to figure out what's right for you for up and back, for dogs, and I'm gonna show it coming in and out just standing, but if you want to, and I'll cue it as much as possible, you can go through a down dog when you're coming in and out of the warrior poses. So hands to the heart, and we're gonna start with the right foot forward, left foot back for a warrior one, Virabhadrasana 1. So that right knee has that really nice soft bend to it. It's not going over the ankle, it's right on top. And then it's also not dropping into the left. Use your inner thigh work, which we just worked on. Keep your hips square, and maybe the hands come overhead. Make sure your neck is in alignment even. It's not a very big step. Some people think this can be a really big step back. You really want the hips to be square for that pose. Good, downward facing dog, or bring your hands to the heart. Left foot comes forward, right foot steps back. Virabhadrasana 1 for the second side. Again, left knee has that soft bend, push back with that right heel so that knee is not bent. If you can, get that leg to be really straight. The hips are square. Let the arms come overhead. And then just take a moment to notice what's happening in the body. Take a moment to breathe. Notice where the openness and light is, and also the areas of darkness and tension. Good, downward facing dog, or bring your hands to the heart. We're gonna come into a warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. So left foot with the right foot forward. So maybe you step the right foot forward, or you take the left foot back, warrior 2. Hips, if you can, watch that you're not dropping the hips or you're pulling your heart forward. See if you can keep your shoulders over the hips, tailbone lengthens, and then let those arms reach out. Drop the shoulders in towards your back. And then there's that little reach out with the fingertips. Make sure your neck is even in alignment. It's not pulling forward. Good, downward facing dog, or hands to the heart. Let's come to the top of the mat. Second side. So your left foot's gonna be forward, right foot back. Your heart turns a little bit to the right. That left knee has that soft bend. Again, it's right on top of the ankle. The arms extend out from the shoulder, and again, drop them into that, get that action happening on the back body. And your gaze can be looking in line with your torso. Maybe you turn to look over that front fingertips. Deep breath in, long breath out. Good, downward facing dog, your hands come to the heart, right foot steps forward. So we're gonna do a warrior 2 again. Let the right foot come forward, left foot back. Arms extend out and reach. Trikonasana, right leg straightens, hinge. If you can, keep your arms at this where they are, just slowly tilt. If that's too much pressure on that top arm, you can let it rest, half bind or hand to the hip. That right hand ideally comes to the outside of the right leg, so your torso is more in line with your upper thigh. Good, back to the warrior 2. So bend that front knee, engage your core to lift your torso up, arms extend out and reach. We're gonna do that one more time. Trikonasana, triangle, straighten the leg, hinge at the hips, slowly start to root down through your feet. Let that right hand come to the outside of the right leg, so you're turning your heart in that direction. Your torso's over the leg, good. Back to the warrior 2, bend that knee, slowly come up. Nice, hands to the heart, down dog, or stepping that left foot forward. Good. Second side. Warrior two to begin. So left foot forward, right foot steps back a little bit. Good. And then let your arms extend out and reach. Straighten that left leg, hinge at the hips. And again, you're taking that left hand to the outside of the left leg. If that's too much pressure on the right hand, you can let it rest on the hip or maybe in the half bind. So you can turn your heart a little bit more in that direction. Good, back to the warrior two. So engage your core, let your arms help you lead the way. Bend that front knee. One more time, Trikonasana, triangle. Straighten that left leg, hinge at the hips. Good, back into the warrior two. Down dog or stepping forward. Crescent lunge. So for crescent lunge, right foot comes forward just as we've been doing. You can root that left foot to the floor, but ideally then you're turning so you're on the toes. The heel can be pointing back or up towards the ceiling. You want your hips to be square here again. And then hands could be to the heart or overhead. This is a balance challenge and hopefully you're getting a good stretch on that back leg. Be aware of where your breath is, where your mind has gone. For those who want to add on, we do this one in class. So if you know this pose and you want to add on to it, airplane. Hands can drop to the side. You give a little push off on that front leg. Come to fly. And then go to stand whenever you're ready. Nicely done. If you're still flying, take your time, come back into a standing pose or to down dog. And we'll go to crescent lunge on the second side. So the left foot is forward, right foot is back. Again, you can rotate that heel so your toes are pointing, or you're on your toes, the heel's pointing back or up. Hips are square, hands can be to the heart or overhead. Take a moment just to be here in this pose, this balancing pose, the big stretch on that back leg. And then for those who want to add on, it's the airplane. Let the hands drop to the side. It's a little push off to lift, keep your core really strong, to lift that right leg. And then go to stand whenever you're ready. Yay! Nicely done. So tree pose. Coming to stand back into Tadasana. So having a wall close by, it's another balancing pose. So having maybe some support close by if you need it. We're gonna go into the standing pose. Place the weight into that left leg so you can bring that right knee lifted up, lifted out a little bit without turning your hips. Watch that your hips haven't really shifted, you're still square. Hands can be to the heart or maybe overhead. Watch that your right foot is not placed to the knee joint area. There's that shoulder work that can happen, like the shoulders drop from the ears and down the back. If you come out of it, go right back into the pose. Take your time, make sure you're breathing. And then when you're ready, we're going to let that first side release. Good, give it a little shake off. And to the second side, so back to Tadasana. Get really strong on that right leg. We're gonna lift that left knee up and let it open a little bit. Again, watch that your hips haven't turned to the left. Stay square. Hands could be to the heart, or maybe they start to come overhead. And then even your neck is in alignment. Make sure that you're not dropping your chin, dropping the head. That can add force, magnitude to kind of drop you out of the pose a little bit more than we would think. So your gaze is looking up. Shoulders relax. Make sure you're breathing. And then when you're ready, we'll let that side go also. So coming into, we'll do a little bit, it's similar to a cat-cow, it's a cocoon butterfly action. So it's a rounding of the spine and dropping your head, maybe bending your knees so your chest rests on your upper thighs. Curl everything in, and then take your time coming to stand. Root your feet down, let your heart open. Maybe you take those arms out, looking up towards the ceiling for the butterfly. Round everything in, curl everything in. Coming to stand, open up, open the heart, root the tailbone down, lift the heart. Maybe the head opens. So do this a couple more times with your rhythm of your breath. Go as far into the pose, rounding and curling, dropping down. Opening up, make sure your core stays strong through this to protect your low back in this action. Finishing up whatever part of the pose that you're in. And then take your time, we're gonna come down to the mat all the way to our back. So going right into, we'll do a couple more poses here and then move into Shavasana. So if you need anything to rest in Shavasana, maybe a blanket or socks or anything, have that close by. Let's come to our back and bend your knees with the soles of the feet to the floor, and then let your feet kind of walk apart a little bit. So when you drop your knees side to side, one knee kind of drops in towards the heel a little bit to the other heel. Shoulders stay connected to the floor. When you're dropping to the right, your left side lifts. When you drop to the left, your right side lifts a little bit. Good, and then coming back to center. Walk your feet in towards each other, maybe in towards the body a little bit. We're gonna come to a moving bridge. So a moving bridge is, you're gonna root your soles of the feet down to the floor, root your shoulders and the back of your head, and then everything else kind of lifts up. So your pelvis comes up and the arms go overhead. With the exhale, everything comes back down. My low back is a little tweaky, so mine's not gonna go very high today. But it's not gonna come very high anyways. It's not a traditional bridge, it's a moving bridge. Inhale, everything lifts. You're rooting the soles of the feet, rooting the back of the head and the back of the shoulders. Exhale, everything comes back down. Inhale to rise, exhale to lower. Going with your breath. Make sure you're looking, if you can, you're looking up towards the ceiling. Hopefully you don't need to see this in the monitor, so you're not turning your head at all. That adds just more pressure. Looking straight up towards the ceiling.
And then next time your hips are down, we'll pause there. We're gonna come into a bridge. So again, hopefully you can do this with just looking straight up towards the ceiling. But we're gonna, again, root your soles of the feet down, root the back of your shoulders, back of your heads, and lift the pelvis up. Looking straight up towards the ceiling. For some of you, you may want to clasp your hands under the back. For some of you, you can even place your hands to your hips and that can help bring the hips even higher. Again, keep looking straight up if you can. You can touch your ankles if that's part of your practice. Make sure your knees are tracking forward. Watch that they're not dropping out or in. If you can, keep them going straight ahead. And then very slowly start to bring your pelvis back down to the floor. Nice and slow. One at a time, maybe you start to bring those knees in towards the chest. Rock around a little bit. Good, we're gonna do that a second time. So when you're ready, soles of the feet come to the floor. Again, you get to control this. You get to figure out what's right for you, how far to go, how long to hold it. But we're gonna root the feet down, back of the shoulder, back of the head. Push down as hard as you can so your hips start to lift. Again, you can clasp the hands under the back, or maybe you take hands to the hips. That can help to lift them up a little bit higher. Maybe they can stay there then. Make sure you're breathing. Knees track over the toes. Make sure the knees are going forward. They're not going in or out. And then when you're ready, again, slowly start to bring the pelvis back to the floor. Maybe move hands out of the way if you're there. And then one at a time, bring those knees in towards the chest and rock around a little, side to side, little circles. Keep those knees in towards the chest. Let your head and heart come up to meet the knees. Draw everything really tight. And then exhale to let everything go. Letting the legs relax out with the palms open towards the ceiling. Shift however you need to, move wherever you need to. Again, maybe you want a blanket or socks for warmth. The deep breath in and a long breath out. And slowly start to scan through your body. Again, checking in, noticing the areas of openness and light. Hopefully there's more light now than you started at the beginning of class. Knowing that if we just think of being happy 51% of the time, that tips you over into the happiness cycle. Puts a smile on your face, hopefully. The glass is full, ideal of life.
And with awareness, begin to bring the mind back to this moment, to this breath. Maybe fingers and toes begin to move, bringing awareness to the physical body. You can let the arms maybe draw overhead to stretch from the fingers to the toes. Nice big awakening stretch. Bend the knees, let your soles of the feet come to the floor. Come to the right side and rest there for just a moment, giving yourself a little bit of space to transition from stillness to the world that awaits. We pause for just a moment. Coming to a comfortable seat when you're ready. Let your head be the last thing to come up. Taking a deep breath in and a long breath out. Let your left hand come to the belly, right hand to the heart. Noticing the belly breath, noticing your heartbeat to connect your mind, your body, and your spirit. Syncing up all three together, noticing when one is a little bit out of balance, the other two will pick up, but ideally we want to run better when all three are in sync, operating at full capacity. Letting your hands release. Let's take a full breath in as the arms sweep up overhead. And exhale. Thank you everybody for sharing your Tuesday night stiff guys and gals with me and everybody virtually online. Woo! Okay, we'll see you Friday.
Thank you, Annie.
I'll talk to each other here.
Thank you, Annie.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank
job,
you.
Annie.
So
Bye.
We don't know. Thanks, Annie.
keep going, so I'll still be here.
Be safe.
Okay, you too, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Annie. Mom, are you still on here?